Welcome everyone to a late but still awesome down the middle. As always, Jake, co-host, Hakeem, how are we doing?
Pretty good. Happy New Year.
Yeah, finally, right?
Yeah.
2020, 2024 is finally over. And as luck would have it, we're going to be talking about 2025.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, just doing the obligatory audio check.
Uh-huh.
Oh, see, I'm glad. I'm glad because they cannot hear you.
Oh, really? Oh,
Really? Oh, see, I'm glad because they cannot hear you. Really? Oh, see, I'm glad. Huh, that's weird. Really? See, I'm glad. Huh, that's weird. Wonder why that is. No, you should be. They should be able to hear you.
what now? Is it good or
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, now we can hear you. That was weird.
okay? Good, good.
But just letting everybody know, this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Molly Jewelry. Don't worry, it's not as weird as it sounds. And the Arte podcast, but we'll talk more about those later. For now, what do we think's going to happen in 2025 with wrestling?
I'm not too sure. To be honest, it's like I like the way AEW is going right now. Somewhat, I do like the adding a little bit more storylines to it.
It is better. I will say it's not,
Hmm.
and I'm not naive. It's not going to change overnight, but I like the
Of course,
trajectory. It's
that's
not
definitely
there yet, and there's still some problematic elements. Moxley.
absolutely yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I also like the way WWE changed a little bit. I like they brought back the blue mats from the past. I liked that part, so I like that.
Can you raise your audio up some more?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure.
Because they can hear you now, but you're super low.
Okay, how about this?
Because they can hear you. It's the same.
Really?
Yeah.
So weird.
I was having the same issue yesterday on a different. Let's see, now I can't hear you. Technical difficulties live TV, pal.
Wait, this hold on. Hmm. How about now?
I can hear you. Oh no. It's still super low for some reason.
That's so weird. I don't know why it's so low.
And I even tried turning my gain down to sort of
Uh huh.
match where you are, but I'm still super loud compared to where you're at.
Yeah, for me, it's that max because like this is literally the
Super loud
highest.
compared to where you're at. How's your mic volume on Zoom specifically?
Um, it looks pretty okay.
That's weird.
Just double check. Yeah, it looks pretty
That's weird.
okay.
Try something else. Let me see what happens when I do this. Try something else. See what happens when I do this. All right, talk to me a little bit.
Okay, how about this?
Okay, we're even. It's just the whole thing's super low. So max volume, everyone, I guess. Okay, we're even.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
just
It's
the
so
whole
weird.
thing's super low.
I don't know why.
Super weird. Anywho, um, yeah, like you were saying, I WWE is on a similar upward trajectory that they've been on, but I think this move to Netflix for Raw is first of all, I think it's the first of many changes. For example, though, what I didn't realize, and I found this out recently, is that they're also uploading, I don't know if it's the complete Raw catalog, but
Uh huh.
basically like the history. And I saw a video on TikTok where they're not censoring out the old WWF logo. They're not censoring out when people say WWF. They're not censoring curse words.
Yeah, I noticed that last, what was it, Friday? Yeah, Friday night.
And last Friday night was that
Yeah, I
that went
mean,
on.
yeah, yeah, Friday. It was Solo or something. I forgot it was in the match. Yeah, I just saw it. Um,
But
it was the first night. Uh-huh.
what network is on SmackDown on? And what network is SmackDown on again?
Oh, it was Netflix. I thought it was.
SmackDown's on Netflix?
I thought so. I thought it was. I thought it was different because it was blue. I could have swore that was. Or maybe that's. I'm thinking about Monday night.
Yeah, Raw, I know Monday Night Raw was moving to
Yeah.
Netflix. Okay, no, it's SmackDown is still on USA apparently,
Oh,
but
okay, okay, okay.
oh, that's going to be real confusing for some of the guys because Netflix being a streaming service is not subject to FCC regulations, which is why
Hmm.
they're going to be able to curse and swear and all that. Now, I'm sure they're still going to try to keep it TV 14, but what this will do is now if they want to do a heated promo where somebody calls somebody else a piece of shit,
Yeah, yeah.
they're not going to bleep out or have to say piece of trash because adult men talk like that.
Yeah. I know. It always takes me out of it.
It's I get it and I don't get it, you know,
Hmm.
because this is supposed to be real people talking to each other in a manner in which it should be obvious that they dislike one another.
Uh-huh.
So it's just one of those things. That they dislike one another. Okay, that's not too bad. Just double checking the old audio levels. But yeah, I think this will be
Yeah.
the first of many changes for WWE on Netflix or streaming because I I view this as Netflix wants all the WWE content, but WWE's been pretty good in the past about keeping their programming diversified because
Yeah.
they are a they're a public company, but they own all their own stuff, so they're not necessarily
Hmm.
beholden. They have a good well, they had a good relationship with the USA Network. USA's probably kind of pissed now, but I mean, Netflix is bigger. Sorry, not sorry. You know.
Yeah, of course. It's and plus it seems like a better change, especially like the 2 hour Raw versus the 3 hours. So it's more easy to digest.
So they're back down to 2 hours.
Yeah, it was 2 hours when I saw it.
Oh, thank goodness. Which
I
ironically, Netflix being 3 hours wouldn't be as big of a deal because it's. I mean, I know everybody can fast forward through TV these days, but
Yeah, to be honest, mostly I do that too. Like I don't watch the full hour, 2 hours, whatever it
no,
is.
it's too much. I'm a
Yeah.
fan. I'd rather see Raw go to 2 hours, but
Oh yeah. I do think they have a more, I don't know, like concrete storyline where not everything's jumbled up in those 3 hours.
well, and again, you can tell all the storylines better because people are
Yeah.
I'm less inclined to fast forward through a 2 hour program than I am a 3 hour program. Not that I ever watch a
Yeah.
3 hour Raw in the first place, but because I don't. I would.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I usually watched the condensed version.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think ultimately this is going to be great for WWE. I think it's going to be great for wrestling fans. I think Raw's viewership is going to go up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it has to. I think it's more
I,
of a reach too.
yeah, well, I think it's going to
Mhm,
be a few different things because now Netflix subscribers who maybe aren't necessarily into wrestling are
mhm,
going to it's going to be presented on their home screen, and maybe they're going to see, they're going to see somebody that they find physically attractive, they're going to see some cool
mhm.
acrobatic stuff, they're going to see somebody that looks interesting to them, and
Uh-huh.
they might check it out, and if they check it out, that's a view. So it's just going to
Exactly.
help it's just going to help WWE. And with the edgier, more adult leaning Raw now, you might even get some lapsed wrestling fans who maybe their last hope was AEW, and then, well, things happened, and so they were
Yeah.
like, you know what, I this wrestling thing can't be, because this is uncharted territory. Not that wrestling has been streaming before, I get that, but this is live, biggest name wrestling on a streaming service that says, you know what, we're not really interested in having this on traditional television anymore, and that's saying something. And you cannot
Uh-huh.
convince me that Raw going to Netflix is not why AEW is finally going to be available on Max.
Oh yeah, they had to like do
Yeah.
something.
I never understood that from day
Uh-huh.
one. I had
Uh-huh.
never understood why, at the very least, being a week behind on AEW TV,
Hmm.
I never understood why they weren't doing that, because it's something they already own. Why not put it on your streaming service? Especially the archive. At least put the archive up
Yeah,
there,
absolutely.
which now
All
now
the
they're doing. So you're gonna have all,
uh
based on what I read, you're gonna have the old pay-per-views,
okay.
and frankly, they should just, especially with AEW, they should just do the PLE model that WWE does anyway, because like Tony Khan obviously doesn't care about, pay-per-view revenue. So just do the PLE model anyway and just have it all on Max. It's easier for everyone. It's cheaper. You'll get more eyes on your product and your big events. And since you guys don't really care about attempting to kill wrestlers on regular television anyway, there's really no incentive to hold out for a pay-per-view because you're going to do it on free TV anyhow.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so just make it easier, right? That's kind of where I'm at. I'm finally excited though, because watching AEW, if you don't have cable, was such a chore, and now, like, that's what I mean. Like, now you're gonna your their viewership's gonna go up, and it's viewership that they can track better too.
Yeah, exactly. Because like so many people have Netflix now compared to back then, so
Yeah,
it's way more.
compared to the Nielsen ratings, which are
Yeah.
imprecise at best.
Hmm.
Like 43,000 homes, and whatever percentage of those happen to be watching your show determines whether or not you stay on television. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I don't have Netflix. Like, like I haven't had it since like they had like a free trial. So that was like a couple of years ago.
Well, and I like to tell people about this. So some people still don't know this. Netflix has a cheaper option with ads.
Uh-huh.
It's $6.99 a month.
Oh, okay, it's not bad at all.
No, and here's the thing, I don't mind ads, so
Yeah,
like that's
I
worthwhile. That
hate
saves
ads.
me.
I
Well, but
hate
it
ads with a passion.
it saves me like $15 a month. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, but
okay
it's
with.
worth it.
And they're
Yeah.
not, Netflix ad amount is not stupid. Like, it's
Okay,
tolerable.
okay.
It's not. Now that's probably going to change, and it'll probably
Hmm.
be different on Raw, if I had to imagine.
Yeah.
But that's okay because Raw already has commercials anyway, so
Hmm.
it's not a super big adjustment to
Okay.
you. And I've already seen, one of the other perks about having ads on Netflix is they put their own ads. So like, I've seen ads for Raw, and they're really pushing this, and I'm not surprised at all. I think
Uh,
Netflix will get some subscribers from just people wanting to watch Monday Night Raw, and that's fine. That's a
oh,
win-win.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
And
Everybody
especially
goes for
once
that.
people learn that they have that cheaper option, they'll
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, I don't mind ads." And it's just going to be a net benefit for Netflix. I think it's going to be a net benefit for WWE, much like I think it's going to be a
Hmm.
benefit for Warner Brothers Discovery to just put AEW on Max, and it's going to
Uh-huh.
be a win for both parties, because it's going to make you're going to get some Max subscribers that you maybe didn't already have, because
Hmm.
people want to watch AEW. Now, it's still on cable though, so I don't know how much it's going to impact Max, but it is easier to watch Max. Basically, there's
Yeah.
going to be less piracy because I know the AEW audience. Um, watch it on Max. You don't need to
Yeah.
pirate it anymore.
Yeah. And most people already have Max. So if they already have it, then it's
Yeah,
not
and even if
much.
they don't, Max is great. Max is one of the better streaming services. Like if you
Uh-huh.
have to choose between two or three, Max should be one of them
Hmm.
for sure. And even
I had Apple for a bit, and honestly, there was some shows on Apple TV that were really good that no one really heard of, but they were really good.
yeah, no, Apple TV, I've heard good things. I never cared to.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah, it's not my. But I have friends who cannot live without
Uh-huh.
their Apple TV. Like they need their
Yeah,
Apple
yeah,
TV, and that's fine. That's what's great. That's why there's so many. Ironically, streaming is just becoming more like it's becoming. We're regressing back to the old network model where there's like
yeah.
I mean
You
now
can
there's
pick
what
and choose.
I'd say
Hmm.
well, but I mean back to like ABC, CBS, NBC, and
Okay, okay.
Fox,
Yeah, uh-huh.
and then it's going to expand into cable, which we're in a hybrid there because I'd say there's a lot of streaming services out there, but of the big ones, I'd say there's probably like five because you got which, and this isn't
Yeah,
even fair because technically Hulu and Disney Plus are the same ish thing now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But even let's pretend like they hadn't, and I think they're merging together too. I think they're gonna just
Uh-huh.
be one entity before too long. But so you got Netflix, Hulu. Those are the big two, kind of the first two, and then there's Disney Plus, Max, and Disney
Yeah.
Plus is kind of an oddity too because it's just Disney stuff.
Uh-huh.
But we'll count it because it's big. And I said, and then Peacock, which that's NBC's baby.
Yeah, yeah. And they've been up for a while.
And then I said Max already, and I think that's
Mhm.
really the big five, and then Apple TV, so that makes six.
I get you consider Amazon Prime,
Oh yeah, that's
maybe.
the seven.
Uh,
Yeah, that's the other big one. Amazon's probably top three if I had to guess.
mhm. Yeah, it's just that honestly, the shows I have Amazon Prime for
Yeah,
the free shipping,
I was
but
gonna say
other than
I
that,
have Amazon Prime. I got Amazon Prime for the shipping, and
yeah,
I it's like a fringe benefit, so it's really cool. The problem is
yeah,
most of the shows suck.
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I honestly of the years I've had Amazon Prime, maybe like two or three different shows I'm watching on
The
it, like the
only Amazon Prime show that I would say I truly liked is The Boys, and
yeah, exactly, the voice, and to
and
me, it's not like it used to be.
I was gonna say, and I'll be honest,
Mhm.
anymore, I haven't watched it in a while. So if I was paying for Amazon Prime just for the video, I'd
Yeah,
probably the movies are a good thing too because they're actually pretty good movies on Amazon Prime that are free to
uh-huh.
you on any given
Mhm.
time. But I mean, if I were paying just for that, I wouldn't be because I don't really find it worth it.
Same here. They do
Yeah.
have Freevee. I think it's still something. So, and they have ads on it, but usually I rarely get ads on it. So it's
Well, and then
really
oh,
good.
Paramount, which I don't really consider Paramount Plus one of the big ones. They're kind of on the fringe still, but they're growing. Um,
Uh-huh.
I only have Paramount Plus still because we do the Final Frontier podcast, and I need it for Star Trek.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. I watched
Yeah,
Pluto for Star Trek.
but Pluto's free, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's completely free, just ads.
Do they have all the Star Treks
They
on there?
have they have the Next Generation. They have Voyager. I believe Enterprise.
Because we're still on the
Is on there.
original series, so
Yeah, yeah. huh. I'm not sure they have the original, but I know they have TNG, Voyager, maybe Enterprise, and they have Deep Space Nine.
so they got the good ones, except
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
the original series.
exactly. I'm not sure the original is still there, but
Yeah, it makes it simple, and plus Paramount Plus is really cheap. It's like
yeah,
five
uh-huh.
ninety nine a month. And actually, I
That's
found out you can save $20 a year because they do have an annual option. It's like $50.
that's not bad.
No, it's not
It's not
bad
bad
at
at all.
all. And I mean, in a year, it's going to cost you. I did the math. It's like $74 annually if you
Exactly.
do the
Uh-huh.
month to month. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one, a little off topic, but I'll tell you, you talk about a streaming service that is still free to this day. But I mean, when it first came out, it was garbage,
Mhm.
man. And now it's actually pretty good, Tubi.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I watched Tubi. I still have
Tubi
it. Yeah,
is
Tubi is
amazing.
really,
It's actually got like
really good,
I remember
really good
when they
movies on
they
there too.
rebranded and I was like,
Uh
"Oh,
huh.
they have real movies on here now."
Hmm. Yeah, Tubi and even Roku is
Yeah, the Roku
okay. They
channel's
have,
pretty
yeah,
solid. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what we're getting at is I wouldn't be surprised if you and this might actually be something that is a net positive and helps the wrestling industry grow because
Yeah.
like imagine this Ring of Honor is not a fair example. So Game Changer Wrestling, for example, if I
Hmm.
were Tubi, I'd be coming to them and being like, "Hey guys,
Absolutely. Just
can
think of it.
we?"
It's more eyes on it. That's all you want. More
Yeah,
eyes, more people to your product.
but imagine Game Changer Wrestling, who doesn't have a, at least as far as I'm aware, doesn't have a TV deal.
Yeah, I think it's just YouTube, right?
I don't even know, but
Oh,
let's
okay.
let's assume. Well, and okay, so fair enough. YouTube's actually a decent platform. So, but
Uh-huh.
let's assume that they're not on YouTube, just for the sake of the example.
Uh-huh.
Is you know a lot of people watch Tubi. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people watch Tubi, and you can advertise Tubi, so that's another win-win. So,
Hmm.
hey, all you Game Changer Wrestling fans, you want to watch our weekly television program? Just download Tubi, and best part, it's free.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
or heck, put Ring of Honor on there because Ring of Honor is going to be on True TV. Although I think Ring of it didn't say if Ring of Honor was going to be on Max, but it should be.
It should.
It absolutely should be. If it's
I feel
not, that's
so
just
sorry for them, like the guys and girls who works there. It's like they're doing amazing work, but no one actually sees it.
well, I have a sneaking suspicion that part of the problem might, and this is somebody in Tony Khan's ear, but so the problem might be they might be afraid of the NXT effect, where if they put Ring of Honor on the same place as AEW is, that it'll pull better ratings.
It should.
I
In a
mean,
way,
here's the
it
thing:
should.
if given enough time and booked properly, so given enough
Uh-huh.
time for people to get into it, if it's booked different from AEW, get it
Yeah.
might be a better show. Which that's not fair because NXT never eclipsed the ratings of Raw, but it wasn't fair because back then it was only on the WWE network.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So there were people who to this day still don't know NXT exists. So
And there's people like see like Tommaso and Johnny and see them now compared to when they were. Like it's night and day.
the
It's
black and
done with the
gold
same people.
NXT, oh, was
Yeah.
so good. So I saw another prediction that Pentagon Jr. will debut on WWE. I thought maybe because when's their first episode? It's January 6th, right? Or is
Yeah.
it on
Monday. Monday.
Netflix? Yeah.
Yeah, huh? Monday.
So I I read it. I don't know because I know the stuff that's going on with Ray Phoenix, and
Hmm.
I figured they would probably want to debut him together. But if I'm WWE and I got this guy, and assuming that he's signed already, I just
Hmm.
be like, hey Penta, I know you want to wait for your brother, man, but how would you like to debut on the first episode of Raw on Netflix?
That'd be good because like
I do. Well, I mean, that's one for the record books.
yeah.
You know, through for the history of time, the remaining of human history, Pentagon Jr. will be the first new wrestler to debut on Netflix's Monday Night Raw.
I do say it'll be maybe more impactful or impact that both of them debut at the same time
See,
as the Lucha Brothers.
I, I, I'm of two minds on this because,
Hmm.
and again, I'm biased, but my favorite Pentagon was Lucha
Uh-huh.
Underground when he was solo. I think he did his best work.
Absolutely. I do say they're better separate, but I see the package still with them where
And
they're really
I
good
get it.
together.
I definitely
Yeah.
so that's why I say I'm like I'm of two minds, but at the same time,
Yeah.
Ray Phoenix is also really good. Ray Phoenix is good,
He
period.
is. Yeah.
Like he can do the tag team, but Penta I feel is just a better solo act.
Hmm. Yeah. I would say Ray gets lost in the shuffle of looking like the Rey Mysterio's type,
Yeah, yeah, that's
and
fair.
Penta is looks entirely different. He looks built different. even
That's
wrestlers
just it.
different.
And I don't mean this in a bad way, but Ray Phoenix looks like a I don't want to say
Yeah,
generic,
uh,
like a fairly typical, very talented, but he looks like a fairly typical luchador until he starts doing stuff.
exactly, exactly.
Penta is
From the
different.
start, yeah, from the start,
Yeah.
he's taller. I
He's
think. I
well
think he's pretty.
he's a bit bulkier than your average luchador. You know,
Exactly. He
Penta
doesn't
almost
move like a luchador.
he can, but yeah, even when
Yeah,
he does lucha style, he's a bit I don't
it's
mean
different.
this I don't mean this bad. He's a bit stiffer. It's a little bit
Oh,
less
absolutely.
gymnasty, you know.
It's more
It just
slower.
yeah, it
It's not
feels
as fast.
different.
Hmm.
It feels different. He can do all that stuff, but
Yeah.
that's what was great about him in Lucha Underground because I'm like, don't get me wrong, it was still lucha, right? But
Hmm.
he had a style that was a little bit more fight, less gymnast,
Absolutely.
and it translated really well when he worked with other luchadors because he looked different.
Hmm.
And I feel like he's gotten a little bit more lucha as he's been in AEW.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially since if you compare like their first match in AEW is different from their last match.
Oh, totally. And
Yeah.
again, this makes me sound like I hate what they've done in AEW. I don't. They've had some great matches, but
Uh-huh.
for me, Penta's best work was what he was doing in Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
That sort of style when he was solo. So I guess if I'm booking WWE and they're like, and I would agree with them, to be like, hey, we don't have Ray Phoenix yet, but he's coming. So we need to debut Penta. Okay, that's easy enough to do. You debut him,
Absolutely.
you get him in some kind of storyline where he needs a partner, and then you debut Ray
Uh-huh.
Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. It could still work because they could be together or separate. It could still work.
But you can also constantly because it's a well
Yeah.
established fact, and all you have to do is establish it on TV. You know, not Ray Phoenix. You know, Penta. You know, he's getting ready to do this tag match where he needs a partner, and then they're getting ready to
And
ring the
then
bell, and
what goes
he does, you
exactly?
know, the whole, and then he cuts a quick promo being
Yeah.
like, you know, I've wrestled all around the world, and I've got a lot of friends. But when I was thinking about who I needed for my partner, granted, this is all going to be in Spanish, but it's like when I was thinking about who I needed to be my partner, I realized only one person, my best friend, my brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
and then you just go on with the races, you know. But Penta merch is going to move great in WWE.
Oh yeah, the mask, the
Oh,
skeleton mask, especially like towards like Halloween-ish stuff, like
I and one of the criminal offenses that AEW did was they only
Oh yeah,
ever
no
had
merch.
well, they have it, but it sucks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I found and I bought it, I found one piece of Pentagon gear that I
Uh,
liked and thought looked good. Dude, when he was on the indies he had better merch.
yeah, that's the part I don't get. While a lot of wrestlers don't have really good like merch you want to buy, it looks so
I
simple or plain or just garbage.
yeah,
It's like
it's
why
plain
spend
Jane.
30
Yeah.
bucks for a shirt that's generic?
It's like put some thought into the design, man. Make it look cool.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
like wrestling gear that doesn't that's why Bullet Club was so great. Like their merch because it was so
Yes.
different and it wasn't
Mhm.
obviously wrestling. Because I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
tell you how many
Uh-huh.
times I was wearing my Bullet Club shirt and people would stop me and be like, Bullet Club. Well, one guy started talking to me about shooting because he assumed I was part of
In
like
the
a
range. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he assumed I was part of
Yeah.
like a shooting club.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now,
yeah.
fortunately, I know a little bit about guns, so he was because he came up. I
Uh-huh.
didn't even realize I was wearing the shirt. He was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
what do you shoot? I'm like, what? He's like, you know, what do you shoot on the range? I'm like, and like I'm real confused. I'm like, I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
various rifles, you know, like I'm partial to ARs, but just because they're fun. But I mean, I'm
yeah.
you know, I've dabbled in high power, not competitively, but I've done
Uh-huh.
that, you know, blah 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 blah. And then we just have this conversation about guns, and he never thought the wiser because he started talking to me about that. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but and then I realized I was wearing the Bullet Club shirt, and I went, ah, oh, come on. But yeah, it was such a unique looking shirt, and to this day, if I wear Bullet Club gear,
Even
like,
I have one, and I'm a person that don't buy any merch.
oh, dude,
I
I
brought
hoard
one.
those. That was the other genius things. Like all credit because I know the Young Bucks had a hand in this.
Uh-huh.
Well, they had a big hand in it. I think it was actually their design and it was their idea
Yeah.
because every individual wrestler that's in Bullet Club also got a shirt, so it became a collection sort of thing. It
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
genius. It's
It was.
absolute genius.
I have Kenny's Bullet Club shirt. That's the only one I have.
See, I actually hated his. I never
Oh,
bought
really?
Kenny's because I didn't like it, but that's okay because you don't have to like it.
Yeah, I can't remember because he had two designs. One I didn't like at all. It had like a dog on it or something, like a robot. I didn't like that one at all.
Yeah.
But the one I have is it's basically plain. It just says Kenny Omega in the back
Oh, I
or
thought you meant his
Omega
Bullet
in the
Club
back.
shirt with like the Bullet Club logo, but the Terminator.
I forgot how it looks. I think it's a little different. I'll
Yeah,
show you later.
right. But yeah, that's another thing. AEW really needs to step it up in the merchandise because people
Hmm.
really want to buy it, and I'm one of them. I want to buy more AEW merch,
Yeah.
but it's just most of it's not good.
Hmm. I always wanted to, but I just never pull the trigger on
It's hard
buying
to
a lot of
justify
merch.
because like I was
Yeah.
on their store
Hmm.
one day and I realized like I wanted to buy a wrestling shirt, but I
Hmm.
couldn't find anything, and I said, you know what? It shouldn't be this hard to spend my money.
Exactly. That's where I feel. It's like I want it, but I want it because of the person who no name of it, but and I want to support them, but I don't like the design. It's so
And like
simple.
Darby, you would think Darby Allen would have better merch. Nah, it's
Absolutely. Yeah, I know this is
and their CM
sad.
Punk merch was just a rip off of the WWE design,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. It's the same old one.
just a more basic graphic of WWE's iconic shirt. So it's like I just don't care. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Hakeem, if you are looking to spend money on high quality merchandise, I have a sponsor for all of you out there.
Yeah.
Not shirts and apparel, but listen, fellas, if you've got a woman in your life, I guess if a man in your life too, but most of their products are aimed at women. But hey, I mean they've got stuff, so they don't exclude anyone. But listen, fellas, we all know that one of the many ways you can make the woman in your life happy is with buying her nice jewelry, right? But here's the problem. That shit's expensive, dude. It is, and you don't want to be the lame dude who buys her like some fake crap, right?
So costume jewelry.
Yeah, no costume jewelry. Well, thankfully, my new friends at Molly Jewelry can help you out. And the best part is you can take my word for it. Now I'm gonna give you guys a close up so you can see this better. I'm sorry,
It
that's
looks
my
nice.
camera. Well, what this
That's cool.
is,
Hmm.
I'm gonna take it out of the blur a bit. So you
Hmm.
can't tell because of the lighting in here. This is a little piece I got from my girl. This is a 10 carat white gold, not silver, white gold,
Okay.
Alexandrite and diamond peripheral ring. And I got this ring for under $1,000.
That's
This
really
ring
nice.
elsewhere, because I looked, a ring like
Hmm.
this elsewhere is probably going to run you close to $4,000, give or take. It depends on where you get it. Now, I did get some of the upgrades because you can get less expensive jewelry from them. Like you can get gold plated, which I don't recommend if you're actually going to wear the jewelry out and about.
Yeah.
But if you want something that looks nice that you're going to wear every now and again, or maybe you're on a budget and you want to get something, it's an alternative. Also, I upgraded for the lab grown diamonds on the side. These can be moissanite, which are kind of they're not fake diamonds. It's a different stone, but they look like diamonds and they sparkle like
Uh-huh.
diamonds. The center stone is a lab grown alexandrite, but for those of you who know jewels, which you probably never heard of alexandrite, it's more expensive than diamonds,
Okay.
the
Yeah, I
real
have
stuff. But the cool
it.
thing about this, and this is why I love alexandrite, you can't tell in this light, this
Hmm.
stone actually changes colors. So it appears
Oh,
green here, but under candlelight or actual like traditional incandescent light,
yeah.
it turns a red color. Now, lab grown alexandrite has a little bit different shade of natural. Like this has more of
Yeah.
a sort of bluish green look. No, not bluish
Yeah.
green. It's a little bit deeper green, whereas natural alexandrite looks a little bit more emerald, and the reds are different shades too. But my point being, you can
Hmm.
get your girl an alexandrite moissanite, or you can get diamond rings from them. They also have a nature series that have like a mossy looking stone, It's not as
Uh-huh.
expensive, but they're cool looking. I'm not gonna lie, they're very cool looking. They also have a wide selection of moissanite rings, which are getting really popular. But the point of all this is you can get this jewelry with our friends at Molly Jewelry using the link in the description. But there's a promo code down there too that'll save you 10% off your purchase, which
That's really good. Yeah.
that's really good. I
Yeah.
was surprised when I was talking to them and they said, "Yeah, and here's
Uh-huh.
a coupon code for your viewers." And I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm expecting like, you know, maybe, it's like a fixed dollar amount, something that's, nice, but not." And they said 10%. I said, "Really?"
Yeah, that is really good.
I was like, can I get reimbursed for this because I bought this for my
Yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
like honestly for what I paid for this that's not nothing. But yeah, so
Hmm.
visit our friends at mollyjewelryus.com. Link is in the description. And the best part about this is it is an online store, but I can vouch for them. I bought for them, and so I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Molly Jewelry US. Link in the description below. Get your girl something nice, and then she'll let you watch wrestling whenever you want.
Yeah, honestly, the selection they have is really vast.
It's huge, and there's updated. They
Yeah.
don't just have rings too; they've got pendants, earrings, all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I see. Yeah.
So yeah, check them out, and they're coming
Really
out
good
with new
prices.
products all the
Mhm.
time. But don't forget that
Mhm.
promo code in the description. It is down there. Use it, save 10%. So yes, Molly Jewelry does not have a problem with merchandise. AEW does.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm
Yeah.
actually I'm really excited for the Penta merch though. I really am truly.
Yeah.
I also have a problem. So fun fact about me and jewelry though is I buy merch for me. I love jewelry. It's a hobby of mine, but I don't wear it.
Oh, same. I
So
never wear
yeah, so
any.
if I'm single, I'm looking at all this beautiful jewelry and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I have nobody to buy this for. But but yeah, I buy wrestling merch for me, which actually you'll appreciate this humor. Speaking of,
Oh, that's awesome.
it's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. No,
This shirt
that's
this shirt's
chill vibe.
popular. When I wear it out, this shirt's popular. It gets a lot of laughs. But yeah, so do we I hopefully this isn't so much a prediction as is a hope. I hope Ring of Honor gets a viewership and grows.
Uh-huh, definitely, definitely.
I want it to get on Max because I know what'll happen is probably it won't eclipse Dynamite, but I think it will eclipse the other shows. And speaking of other shows, Rampage is it gone or going? I think it's
I have
gone.
it is? Oh wow.
Oh, I
I have
know that
no.
they said they were getting rid of it and they're replacing. They're just it looks like they're just renaming it though.
Oh yeah, you're right, you're right. They were replacing it. But yeah, it's still the last Rampage was oh yeah, the final Rampage was December 27th.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I remember that
Yeah.
being like the final Rampage. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is a real shame because Rampage could have been a really good show if they had just incorporated it into their lineup correctly,
Hmm.
but they didn't. So yeah, and I don't remember what the new show is. It's not Velocity, but it does start with a V, I think.
I'm not too sure. I remember there was naming it, but
I also don't know if it's a 2 hour or 1 hour program. But if it's a 1 hour program, that's kind of silly because
hmm.
just keep Rampage. Unless Rampage is such a toxic name now that people see it and they just go, nope. But yeah, in AEW as total, I I kind of predict this year's going to be fairly uneventful for them. I think it'll just slowly but surely get a little bit better, but never underestimate Tony Khan's ability to take something and screw it up. Because for a
Yeah, I
case
agree. Like
study, yeah, for a case study, CCM Punk.
it's like I do like where it's headed, but I'm not too sure. Like I'm still like confused about certain
They're
things. But
still
like
doing some really goofy. Like the last time we
yeah.
did the podcast, I gotta say, I
Hmm.
watched AEW and I was like, I actually enjoyed the show for the most part.
Yeah. Hmm.
But it also was kind of a nothing burger.
Yeah, I liked it. World's End. I saw that. That was pretty
Oh, see,
okay.
I have not watched that yet, so I
Yeah,
was
it was pretty
curious.
okay. It was good. It's just that it was some silly part. It's like Tony Storm. is now back to the old Tony for some reason. I don't know why. It's almost like she's back from when she was in WWE. She's playing on that Tony. She's no more the black and white Tony. So I have no
So
idea why she
the
went
one of the
backwards.
most popular things, which to be fair, I didn't get it,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah.
recognize that it was
Yeah.
popular.
It's just gone. It's like it. She never did before. She's
That's
acting like she's brand new. She's like, "Oh, thanks for this opportunity," and all that stuff like that. Like,
like
I don't get
they
it.
didn't even hit her in the head to
No, that's the thing. I could see like the Mariah May like hit her or something hard enough where she forgot the last like 8 months or something. But
yeah, I mean, as silly as it sounds, it's something. Like
yeah, it was just like, okay, here's Tony Storm. She's back in the red and black.
she's back in color.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's like I don't get it.
Yeah,
Either
I just
they're playing like 3D chess or
they're
something,
not.
and oh,
They're playing
I
standard checkers, and they think
have-
that they're Tony Khan thinks he's Bobby Fischer, but
like
he's playing checkers.
it's like I really don't get that part. But
It's,
overall, it was a good pay-per-view. It was
that's
decent.
good. That's good. If AEW can just get rid of the silly stuff.
Yes, yes. And like the last match was Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. It threw me out. Like I really didn't care. Like
Because
once I
it's
see Orange Cassidy,
dude.
it
Like,
was
okay, riddle me this. That we all know who Orange Cassidy is. We all know what his deal is.
yeah,
Why would Moxley even agree to have a competitive match with the human sloth? If he's supposed to
makes
be
no
this
sense.
badass, like
Yeah.
Hell's Angel style biker gang, like honestly, putting my, you know, theoretical booking hat on. It's like, okay, John, yeah, Mox, okay, you want to do the whole badass Death Riders thing. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is at the main event of World's End, you are going to you're going to kill Orange Cassidy.
It wasn't much better.
Like, seriously.
A 5 minute match.
We're going to have people legitimately scared that he's
Uh
dead.
huh.
That's what, and none of this, it's like, no, you want your death match? Kill him. Like make them think he's dead. And then Orange Cassidy, you get to go on a vacation, a long vacation. You're still getting paid, but you're going on a long vacation. You will not be on television for a year if I have my druthers. At least
Yeah.
6 months. Like you're gone. Because when you come back, you're going to be brand new and you're going to be legitimate. And you're going to say something to the effect of, I thought I was untouchable, blah 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 blah, and then
Mhm.
you almost took you almost killed me in this ring, and I realized I have to stop kidding around. Hit the gym, put on weight. You can do it.
Yeah. It just it took me out of the whole show. Like I was actually
It's
enjoying
the
it.
main event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, did you turn it off or did you finish the match?
I saw it. It was okay. It was like it was nothing that good, but it wasn't that long because Adam Copeland came back.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I didn't even real.
Yeah.
I blanked on that he was gone. I saw the rated FTR stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which, to be
So
fair, okay, great. I'm
mhm.
here for it. Anytime FTR's on screen, I'm there for it. And anytime,
Yeah.
well, for the most part, anytime Adam Copeland's on screen, I'm there for it, unless he's doing something just god awfully stupid. But hey, like I'll take it. And so here's my other thing that I'll keep asking: what's going on with Tony Khan and the Bucks? Where did that go?
Oh, that's dead. That's that was dead when they started it. They knew they wasn't going to finish. They could have took it somewhere, but it,
So I guess I did see something where apparently in some interview Tony Khan credited the airing of the CM Punk footage with getting them their TV deal.
oh really?
I could be. Geekdom Donut 101 did a bit, but I'm not.
Oh, okay, okay.
I've not seen the. I don't know if that's older, but it seemed to be pretty new.
Uh huh.
I think when I watched it, the video was only a week old, so I'm assuming he's talking about a more recent interview.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, bro, tell me that CM Punk lives rent free in your head without like
Exactly.
just stop, dude.
Still
It's
bring him up.
pathetic. It's so pathetic.
It's
And
like
it's your
they
fault
didn't.
it's pathetic
Yeah,
because if you'd not been stupid, CM Punk would still work at AEW and he'd be drawing you $1 million ratings and he would
I'm
be
pretty sure of it.
selling out pay-per-views and he sure as hell wouldn't be wrestling Orange Cassidy. See, he'd do a dark match with Orange Cassidy for sure, but not on television.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
It never makes sense, right? Because the only way Orange Cassidy legitimately works is if everybody is in on the joke and agrees to play along. Well, why would a heel do that?
Yeah, yeah. It's just like the match they had with it was Mercedes versus Chris at World's End. It was a legitimate good match. It's just that it just didn't make sense how Chris was taking so many bumps from Mercedes when she's like half her size.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
should have. Yeah, it's like, and I don't get it because there are people there that know wrestling psychology. They should be like, okay,
yeah.
Chris, you've got a solid, what, 40 pounds at least,
Oh, yeah, yeah, at
if
least.
if
And
not
like
more. Like,
she's like probably 5'8",
yeah,
maybe 5'9".
yeah, and it's like, Chris, your game plan, because if this were a legitimate fight, your game plan is to get your hands on Mercedes and throw her around like a ragdoll Mercedes.
And
You got to take out
she
the
did
legs.
for one part. She did
Yeah,
for one part, and I was like, yes, finally. And then she made a mistake, and then somehow Mercedes got the upper hand. It's just certain parts of that match. It didn't make sense.
yeah, because it was in the script.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope AEW figures it out, but unfortunately, it's a good and bad thing because people have talked about this. That company will exist as long as Tony Khan wants to pay for it. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it makes money. It doesn't, right?
Mhm.
But that's also the worst thing about that company because Tony Khan doesn't necessarily have to impress an audience.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, it can always turn into Tony Khan pays a television network to have his wrestling TV show on it.
Yeah, it's like he's already wealthy, so
Yeah,
he's
he
not going to
can.
lose money, you
Yeah,
know.
it's inconsequential. Now, currently, it's not
Yeah.
so bad that because I mean, Warner Brothers Discovery is paying them for the show, so
Uh-huh.
it's not reached that level of disappointment yet, but
Uh-huh.
and they do seem to be on an upward trajectory. So best wishes for 2025, but
Yeah.
I just hope they continue this trajectory is all I'm saying.
Yeah, same here.
Because WWE is going to continue to spank them, I think, certainly for the next year, if probably forever. But
I would
um,
say probably definitely in the next 6 months,
well,
but
you know
we'll
what? If
see.
if if I'm WWE, I think the best troll would be to build TNA up as a legitimate competitor to AEW.
Oh, that'd be kind of messed up.
That to me would be the greatest flex ever,
Uh-huh.
and just be like Triple H can be like, well, it's not even our company, and even they're beating you.
I wonder will they buy TNA? That'll be
I
something.
I don't think so. And there's a couple
Mhm.
reasons why. Which again, I've never met Paul Levesque, so but
Uh-huh.
based on what people have said about him that I've heard and what I've read is first and foremost, he loves the wrestling business and he understands that, especially with today's model, competition in the marketplace is a good thing. And because
Yeah.
like WWE doesn't need to recruit any more fans. However,
Mhm.
TNA can be a wonderful place to acquire talent from without having to invest a ton of money.
Yeah,
Your Joe
absolutely.
Hendrys, your Jordan Graces, your Mooses,
Yeah.
and even, Ryan Nemeth he's doing good stuff there that he just didn't have the
Yeah.
opportunity to do. And it'll be similar to the Cody Rhodes route, I
Uh-huh.
expect, where, if you got a guy who, people like him, but he's just not quite
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
send him over to TNA.
Hmm.
Like let him do, or like even if Cena's a bad example, let me think. Like frankly, I think Curtis Axel should go to TNA
Oh, yeah, yeah.
or
Just
somewhere,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, or
Is he
there
still wrestling?
I
Like I
think
haven't seen him
so.
here. I haven't
Maybe.
seen him like a long
If he's
time.
not, he should have gone somewhere.
Hmm. Hmm.
Working with a Joe Hendry, do a program with Joe Hendry, and then Joe Hendry can come on WWE TV like he's already done and make a splash. And
Uh-huh.
having at least a working relation. Like, I imagine the TNA thing would kind of be similar to what Vince did with ECW.
Okay, yeah.
Something like that. Something where they don't own it because frankly they don't need to own it. There's no valid reason for WWE to buy TNA. They don't need
Uh-huh.
the talent. They don't need another program. But it's a good relationship to have around.
Hmm.
If you need an excitement in a Royal Rumble or in an event, you can always just bring, a TNA star over.
Uh-huh.
And it provides you with a way to, if you've got a talent that has some friction with the office, and say, look, okay, we understand where there's some friction here. Why don't you continuing making your money, like you're still getting paid by us, go help TNA out, have some fun, work with some different people, put them over, and it gives time for tensions to cool. If you're doing
Hmm.
temporary run with TNA, well, no, they do tour occasionally, but I believe the majority of their tapings are in the same place. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
it's like it gives some time to breathe, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's all good things. And then conversely, like I said, if you want a surprise, like don't tell me Moose wouldn't get a pop if he showed up in the Royal Rumble or something,
He should. Like he's
or in the
such a
Money in
good
the Bank
talent.
ladder match. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's like you can tease that'd be some good TV. You tease a surprise entrant
Uh-huh.
for at least a few weeks, and then everybody's wondering who is it, and then like the week before you drop in, it's like he may not even be a member of the WWE roster, and
Yeah.
then everybody's first instinct would be like, oh, it's somebody from NXT because they play that game all the time,
Uh-huh.
and then for somebody like Moose or Ryan Nemeth
Imagine him back. Yeah. It's like I wonder will he be Dolph again or Ryan?
or Nick, not Ryan, sorry,
Oh yeah, 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 Nick.
yeah, they're brothers, it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
Probably not, if I had to guess. And that
Yeah.
might be the best thing he can do for himself because Dolph Ziggler's kind of, and now granted, he kind of sort of picked it, but Dolph Ziggler's kind of a dumb name. Not going to lie.
It always was. I never got it. Like,
Yeah, Dolph. I mean,
yeah.
I guess Dolph Lundgren, but
He's the only Dolph I ever heard of.
yeah, and I didn't even get that it was short for Rudolph. I was just like Dolph. I just
Yeah,
figured it was
yeah,
like a
yeah.
Scandinavian name because I think Dolph
Uh-huh.
Lundgren's Swedish, isn't he, or something, or
Something like
Hungarian?
that.
He's
Uh-huh.
he's over. He's on the other side of the ocean. But yeah, so I think that would be the greatest troll ever is that WWE just kind of like lets TNA ride its coattails of success to compete with AEW directly.
Yeah,
I think that'd be funny. And New Japan's kind of been floundering ever since AEW was founded, and I think we'll probably see more of the same. What New Japan really needs is they need a star.
yeah. Another Kenny or
They need
Will.
another. But I mean, gosh, when I always talk about the sweet spot in wrestling for me is like 2014 to 2019, and that's because New Japan and Ring of Honor had legitimate stars, legitimate
Uh-huh.
young talent that brought eyes to the product, and right now they just don't. I mean, I get they got Naito, but Naito's not exactly young anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, they've got talent, but it's talent that no
It's aging
disrespect.
out.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and no disrespect to Naito, but I've seen Naito.
Hmm.
You know, they need, I don't know where you pull talent from though, because,
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do they have like a NXT version over there that's similar.
well, I mean, they've got their dojo, but that's mostly Japanese guys, which fine.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
that big name, because like, yeah,
Hmm.
they've just gotta get a couple names to.
Honestly, when they like joined with AEW, I thought that was when they was going to have like more AEW talent over there, and was going to like I don't know put more eyes on New Japan.
Yeah,
But
but you know what? And I kind of get why this happened because I mean, it sounds bad, but if you're making that AEW money and working one, maybe two nights a week, why would you go to Japan?
it's true.
Especially if you got
Yeah,
a
for sure.
family. Like
Yeah.
like the Young Bucks did it because they had to, because that's
Uh-huh.
that's where they made the bulk of their money.
Yeah.
Like, but now they don't have to. So unless they just feel like doing a Tokyo Dome show, like they just don't have to. And I'd imagine there's some bad blood when you're talking about the Young Bucks. Although I know Kenny did a run there. Um,
Yeah, he came back.
yeah,
He started first in New Japan. I forgot one of their pay-per-views.
yeah, but they need New Japan needs, and it's not even their fault. That's what's frustrating is because AEW definitely seemed to be getting more out of that deal than New Japan did.
It seems they took away like a lot of their stars and like I'm done now.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, I mean, kind of. Yeah, that's
they got Kenny, Will, Okada, Shibata, and a few others.
no. Takeshita came from DDP.
Oh, okay,
There's
okay.
there's another one. Yeah, but I guess Ibushi's wrestling again in New
Yeah,
Japan
yeah, yeah,
though.
yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I mean, like even Ibushi's kind of aging out because he's not.
Oh, they all are. Even
Yeah,
Okada is not the same Okada that I've seen like 10 years ago.
yeah, they need some breakout stars, which I mean,
Mhm.
New Japan's gone through similar periods. Like everybody talks about the era of the Three Musketeers, where you had, Tanahashi, Nakamura, and Shibata were essentially the draws, and they were carrying the promotion for almost
Uh,
like 5 plus years. So
uh,
it's just a downtime, but they'll get there.
yeah, absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
always waves, and WWE went through a major downtime in the 2010s, which granted that was their fault.
Uh-huh.
That definitely wasn't a lack of talent. It was totally their fault, but it was a
Oh yeah.
downturn.
Uh-huh.
And AEW, I think, just came out of a downturn. Hopefully, they're on an upward trajectory. But I mean,
I
there's a
hope so because like their finally seem to be putting some storylines that I actually like Ricochet. I actually kind of care where his storyline's going now compared to when he was in the WWE
yeah.
before
But
I didn't really care.
I'm going to be honest. After seeing a couple of his promos in AEW,
Oh no,
I
no, that's trash. But
I know
but
why they didn't give him a microphone.
yeah, I know.
I get it. I get
But
it.
he looked legit mad, like when he's going against Swerve. So hopefully
Yeah,
it brings something out of him. You know.
yeah, for sure. And again, I've gotten better about when something happens on a wrestling show that I disagree with. I've gotten
Mhm.
better about being like, okay, I don't know where this is going yet. Let's just see what happens because a lot of
Yeah.
the time I'm more than okay with the resolution.
Hmm.
And I think, you know what? I wouldn't have even thought of that, but I like it.
Exactly.
I mean, unexpected things happen, you know,
Hmm.
sometimes for good, sometimes for the better. Kind of like how over on the Arte podcast, which is my solo podcast where I have in depth, long conversations with people, YouTube recently removed one of my videos for, quote, medical misinformation.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So, fortunately, that podcast is on multiple platforms, so you can watch that episode in its entirety. I uploaded a video talking about it where you can link directly. But honestly, if you're a fan of the Joe Rogan Experience, you honestly should check out the Arte podcast. Not to toot my own horn, but it's a similar format. And my interview coming up in February, yeah, because the Artie Awards are going to be announced in this month in January. But in February, I did an interview with a another fascist stretch mobility coach, and I'm going to have him back on because I also found out he was a certified financial advisor from Dave Ramsey. So we're going to talk about something completely
Awesome.
different. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but you learn stuff. There's fun, but check out that band episode with Natalie Shafi, a holistic healing practitioner. The way I see it, whenever YouTube removes a video, it means somebody was right.
Yeah, it's like it was nothing on there that was like, oh no, bad or bad or anything like that.
No,
Just
the way they made it sound in their reasoning was they made it sound like, and she did not do this. I want to be crystal clear. She did not do
uh-huh.
anything of the sort, but they made it sound like she was like, "Oh, you have cancer? Take this plant root and it'll fix
Oh,
it." And
okay. Yeah,
I'm
rub
like
on your
that's
head.
not I'm like that's
Yeah.
not at all what she said. She was referencing a chart that had holistic and traditional medical methods for various ailments that was created by nurses and health educators.
And honestly, who knows? Maybe that herb may work. You know?
Well, no, okay, first of all, cancer was only brought up as being on the chart. That's not even what we were talking about. But it's like I was so mad, not just for me, but I was just like,
Yeah,
really? This is so dumb. This is
yeah,
just
it
so
was.
dumb. But like I said, you can check out the full episode on Spotify. There's a link in the video, but check out the Arte podcast, link in the description. You can get all that information and see my interview with a professional Muay Thai fighter who he's retired now, but at the time he was still active. Rock band again and forever, also a very good friend of the podcast network. Just a lot of very interesting conversations and more to come. So check that out. Who else? What other wrestling companies do we have?
Well, Stardom, but I
That's
really don't watch that much.
I'm counting them as part of New Japan now
Yeah, I know.
because
Yeah, that's same here.
I think the same. Which I got to be honest, I think the higher ups in New Japan are pissed because I think they were going to get more eyes by incorporating Stardom, and
Yeah,
I don't think it did all that much.
I really don't. I think they get more views on YouTube.
Probably.
But seriously, I think they do.
Not gonna lie, probably, probably. I guess you got NWA, which yeah. I mean, kudos to them. They're on the CW, so
I never watched one
but
episode.
so is NXT now. So I'm telling, if I were NWA, I'd have been so mad because
Yeah,
they got a TV deal with the C. Or is NWA even still on the CW, or did they get
I'm
kicked off?
checking.
Yeah, 'cause, God, NXT being on the CW is so weird.
It is.
I mean, NWA being on the CW was weirder, but
Yeah.
yeah, it
Doesn't
was
tell
wild.
me what
If
it's
I were
on.
Billy Corgan, I'd have been really upset.
Uh-huh.
Just be like, really, CW? Really? It's like, no, because my company's not hanging on by a thread or anything.
Yeah, that to me they did them dirty. Because a lot of people do like them. Yeah, it's on the CW.
Oh, okay. So the CW has two wrestling programs that
Yeah.
are competing with each other, kind of.
Yeah, it says CWX and YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if I were Billy Corgan, I'd be pretty upset. It's like you make a deal, host my wrestling show, and then you put another wrestling show on the same network. Yeah, I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah, especially when it's like their one chance to okay to actually make
Yeah,
it,
they
and
were
they're
like,
like,
"Oh, we're
nope.
on legit TV now." By the way, we're putting
Yeah,
NXT on,
well,
which is the
there goes
same
that.
color scheme too.
Yeah, that's true. Black and gold.
So yeah, that's not going to be confusing or anything.
uh,
Even
oh,
starts with the
yeah.
same letter.
Oh, yeah, right.
NXT NWA. There's gonna maybe
Yeah.
actually that'll probably help them.
Someone may get confused.
Somebody
Okay,
gets confused. I thought I was watching NXT. Oh god, I saw a video on TikTok of a it's wrestling grandma where it's a grandma that watches wrestling and has liked wrestling her life, and
Uh huh.
she's like, that Roman Reigns is gonna get his ass whooped, and then the guy filming her is like, Grandma, who's your favorite wrestler? She's like, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm like, I love this girl.
Yeah,
This
that's
this
awesome.
she's like, Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Undertaker. And I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Oh yeah, I wish they were still around to wrestle. I don't know. I miss the Attitude Era. I miss the ruthless aggression era.
Well,
Like,
I think the attitude. I think it's going to become kind of a hybrid of the attitude, ruthless aggression era on
uh,
Netflix, frankly, because I think Raw is going to live up to its name now. Like
I hope so.
I'm not. I don't think you're going to get bra and panty matches coming back, but I think you will get.
Uh,
I think you will get some pieces of shit thrown around. I think you'll get a little bit more blood. But Triple H is really good at this stuff. You know what I mean? Like he knows when it's appropriate to kind of push but not
yeah,
overdo it, you know?
yeah. Now I don't really, like the blood matches. To me, some of them are overdone. Like
That's
I
just it.
seen too
It's when
many.
it's overdone. I always used like the Dusty rule. Like
Yeah,
it seemed like when Dusty bled, it always meant something, which I'm sure there are matches where it didn't because
yeah.
some of those were certainly before I was watching wrestling, some of them were before
Mhm.
I was born, but it's like I think Cody has very much the same mentality though because when Cody bleeds or somebody bleeds in a Cody
Oh yeah,
match,
yeah. It's like more meaningful, you
actually I
know.
think Punk probably has the better attitude towards it because you know, I get the sense that he really doesn't like, bleeding.
Uh-huh.
I can understand it. I would find it unpleasant, but he'll do it if the match calls for it. So
Mhm.
I get it. But just go out there and cut yourself for no reason, or no, not for no reason, but for no good reason.
Yeah.
Is one, it's like first of all, you're causing yourself pain. Like I know it's not permanent damage or anything, although I don't know. Some of those guys have plenty of scars, but
Yeah,
like,
Devon
yeah, like if
and
you're gonna
a
do
few
it,
of them.
at least make it means something because the other thing that happens is that when you do it too often, Moxley, it dilutes it when people get used to seeing people bleed, it dilutes it when it actually matters, you know?
Uh-huh.
And that I think is my biggest problem with it because shoot, there was a time where if a wrestler bled in a match, it was like, oh, now it's on.
Yeah, now it's just like every other like Will Ospreay match or Moxie match, you know.
It's time to bleed it in, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, I cannot, which is not Will Ospreay's fault, but he's not helping. I hate the fact that the word bruv is in the United States now.
Oh yeah. I never heard it until he came.
It's because the English can't speak their own language. Because bruv is short for brother. Because, in England, the TH sound makes a V. Brother. It's like, jeez.
Yeah, I do hate that part.
It's, stop. Just, you can't speak English and your country is named England. Stop it.
Like I like him, but I just hate when he's talk.
I do. I'm the same way. I really like him. He's one of the few people who would be like, just shut up and wrestle, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Just stop
Like his
talking.
matches are phenomenal.
Well,
Like
and the
the
thing
things
is,
he
a
can
lot of
do.
people probably don't understand this, but he's dialing it up. Like, don't get me wrong, he's always had an
Uh-huh.
accent, but he's dialing it up. Like, go back to
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
2015 Will Ospreay. Don't get me wrong,
Uh-huh.
he still has a thing. He's hamming it up on the mic.
Oh, absolutely. And like he talks more now than he ever did before in the past. Before I
Which,
knew him as a wrestler
yeah.
and less of a talker, you know.
Like, oh man, I remember early Will Ospreay back when he was a much smaller fella.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that he can still do pretty much all that stuff, having been damn near double as big as he was, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is really impressive.
It is.
I mean, Ricochet too, to a point, because he definitely got some size, but
Mhm.
I mean, Ricochet's always kind of been fairly ripped, but I mean, he definitely got bigger.
Yeah, he did. He did. Like compared to before when he was like Prince Puma, he's definitely.
I think that was kind of the start of it, actually. I mean, like
Yeah,
prior to
yeah.
that, like indie Riffic Ricochet,
Oh, okay, okay,
he
okay.
was quite a bit skinnier back then, but he was younger too. So
Hmm.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
cutting him up. I'm just saying, like, kudos. Like that's very impressive.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, what other anybody else? I don't know. Do we think the Rhea Ripley train is running its course?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I forgot about. Yeah, like now it doesn't. I don't really care about it now. Like the whole Rhea Dom or Rhea getting back at Liv. To me, that whole storyline is kind of like it should have been like ended a while ago.
Well, yeah, because my whole thing was just like because Rhea Ripley's clearly a babyface,
Yeah,
and it's just like when he dumped her for Liv, it's kind of like, okay, why are you fighting over this? This is a good
yeah,
thing for
exactly.
you.
Yeah,
Your life will be demonstrably better without him around you.
I totally get like getting revenge after that, but still, like
For the
to drag
title,
it
I
on
get,
longer. Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
but
Not for Dom.
not for Dom. This isn't about Dom.
Mhm.
Actually, that's the best thing she could do in a promo, and is he can be like, "Listen, Rhea, I know you're upset about me going." She's like, "This isn't about you, Dom." I am happy that she stuck around with Priest though,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I mean, they're kind of like a unit in and of themselves. So that's
Yeah, that's true. Because I think without her, like, not say he was dead in the water, but like to me, she did help it a
well,
lot.
we, gosh, we said this on this very program when Judgment Day was still going strong. We said like, it kind of feels like Damien and Rhea both have kind of outgrown this thing.
Yeah,
Now they haven't outgrown each other because they go together like very well.
yeah.
But
They really did make a good team.
yeah,
But
but
it's like
as a stable, everybody else is
mhm,
kind of a joke. And like Finn Balor's not a joke, but what he does in the stable
he
kind of
is
is.
now. Yeah, he is
Yeah,
now. He's
yeah.
nothing like what he used to be.
Which I
But
mean, fair enough. I mean, he's been wrestling for a long time. He deserves to
hmm.
sit back, take a break, and be the leader of a stable, a jobber stable.
Uh-huh.
Now, the fact that Raquel Rodriguez is hanging around with him now is super weird to me.
I see it, but
I see
he
it
is
because of
kind of like
Liv, but
yeah, yeah.
it's still kind of weird. The whole thing's kind of weird.
It kind of reminds me like they trying to make a like another LWO. What was it? Yeah, LWO.
Yeah, except this was
Like
like the goth world
yeah,
order.
yeah,
Like,
version. Yeah, 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 exactly.
yeah, is the LWO even still doing
Well,
stuff?
they have well, yeah. They have
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought they've been around.
yeah, yeah, not as big, but they still have some stuff. But
Yeah, let's see, what are they gonna do with Pentagon? Are they gonna try to bring
mm,
him into that? Because the unfortunate thing about um,
I would say maybe bring with Andrade, like him and Pentagon as a team until Ray comes in. And
I mean, maybe because the unfortunate side effect of having the LWO is now you're kind of with all your, you know, Latino wrestlers, you're kind of like you're either LWO or not.
yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, I get what they were doing, I get it, but it
Mhm.
created kind of an unintended consequence. Oh, it's kind of like
Yeah.
LWO versus all the other Latino wrestlers on the roster on the
Yeah.
roster, and it's kind of
Rest
like,
yeah.
ooh, I bet they didn't anticipate this.
I bet they did. They just didn't know how far it was going to go.
If they did anticipate it, that sounds like a Vince thing. Be like, well, they're all gonna fight each other.
Best one wins.
It'll be like a gang war, and they'll all wear bandanas. It's good shit.
I said you probably did say
Yeah, I'm sure this is a conversation that was had.
that.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
I don't know if they're going. bring him as singles or tag because, like I said, Andrade he just lost against Shinsuke. And he keeps losing. I don't know. He came to he came to WWE for a change, and now he's still
Oh,
losing.
I'm sure it's a positive change because at
Yeah,
least
yeah, yeah,
he.
yeah, yeah. At least he's not getting into fights with Sammy
Oh no, he
and
did that to try to
whatever.
get fired. I'm convinced. You cannot convince me otherwise, because the way I understand it is he was told not to hit other people, and then he immediately went and punched Sammy Guevara in the face to try to get sent
Yeah,
home.
he probably
Because I mean,
did.
it was like the same day,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I kind of believe he was like, "Oh, you don't want me to punch other people, Sammy?
he's an easy target.
Bring that punchable face over here."
And what they did to Sammy is like so messed up. It's like he's so good, but he's now in ROH with Dustin.
That could actually be a net positive for him in the long run.
Oh yeah, I really do think he'll learn more to dial things back, and not to kill himself every single match.
Well, because Sammy is another guy who, I'm not saying he was small, but I mean, put on a little bit more size,
Oh yeah, 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 I totally get it.
still be able to do that stuff. You've already got the punchable face. Now learn how to use it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then Ty Mello's back,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which I think she went to Japan, but still,
yeah, for a little bit, yeah.
yeah, she's back. Which I know there's a lot of people that don't like Ty Mello. I always
Oh,
liked
I
her.
like her. I like
I
her a lot.
always
Yeah,
liked Ty.
I like her
There were
versus NST.
there
Yeah.
were issues. I'll
Hmm.
freely admit there were issues, but I always liked Ty. I don't know.
And when she was with Sammy, to me, this got better.
Yeah,
So I
see,
don't
I
know why
actually
they.
liked that. I actually
I
liked
like
that,
that
and
part.
and the, I will fully admit I'm an asshole because do you guys remember when Sammy proposed to his old fiance
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah, I remember. I
AEW?
remember it. I was like, that's not going to work. As soon as
You
he
know
said,
how I knew it
I, was,
wasn't going to work? It wasn't okay, okay. This is what makes me an asshole. I I
I know exactly what you're going to say, but
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I
You
totally
know,
agree.
it's just kind of like, listen, I'm sure she's a wonderful girl.
She has a nice personality.
I'm sure she has a great, yeah. Now,
No, exactly.
the reason I knew it wasn't going to work though is because I was like, oh, she's normal.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
he is now no longer a broke wrestler on the indies.
yeah,
He
yeah.
has money, and more importantly, he's on
And
TV.
honestly, I
This
feel like
is not going to last.
she was like his foundation, like throughout
Yes.
the whole turmoil of like coming up as a wrestler. And
Yep.
once he got established, he upgraded.
Well, then all of a sudden he's got people like Ty Mello, Anna Jay, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
people around his age that are
Hmm.
beautiful and also on TV. And it's like, oh,
Hmm.
they're talking to you now because they know who you, and even people outside of wrestling. I'm sure
Yeah,
he had dates with models, and I'm sure he had dates with, other,
yeah,
quasi
yeah, yeah,
celebrities, influencers. Like you're a person whose name is now known,
yeah.
and that carries some privilege with it.
Hmm.
And not to
Yeah,
mention, it
I
seems
knew it
like he
wasn't
and
gonna work.
Ty actually have a really good relationship. So kudos to them.
Hmm.
Um, Not only that, bro, Sammy knew what he had because he found a girl that looks like Ty Conti that was just as nerdy as him.
Yeah, and then like they have a kid now, I think,
Sammy
real
knows,
fast.
yeah, Sammy
It was like,
knows. Sammy knew what he had. So kudos to him. Because yeah, I think they did like a 1 year birthday party for their baby, or not even a year. They did some kind of
yeah,
birthday celebration for their baby, and it was Dragon Ball themed. And I was like, oh, dude, you
that's
hit the
awesome.
jackpot.
Yeah,
You hit the jackpot, my friend. But yeah, hopefully we see more from. I just want to see more Ring of Honor on TV. That's what I want.
yeah. It's a shame. It's like I don't know. I just like I said, some things they're doing with AEW is good, and others just I just want more. I want more better wrestling, or overall, even WWE.
I think
Like,
we'll get it.
yeah, I hope so. It's like,
Well, what I hope
uh,
doesn't happen is that WWE gets racier with Raw, and then AEW goes, "Oh, well, now we really got to up it."
if they do, I wouldn't mind it so much.
If they do it
At least it's
right, but
something.
if they just
Exactly.
come out there like I think Moxley is one step away from just becoming Sandman,
Yeah. Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
coming out and
Definitely.
starting the match, smashing a can on his face. Not a beer can though, because I know he's sober now, but like a can of sparkling water or something. Like just give him a can of Coke Zero and just like it's coming. Oh, I remember the moment I wanted to talk about, which I saw this as a highlight. This is what makes me afraid for AEW's future. So apparently, although, and on the one hand, I kind of liked it. So this was when Moxley and the Death Riders are in the ring, and he's like, if anybody has a problem with what we're trying to do, come out to this ring and tell me to my face. And then Commander comes out and starts walking to the ring, and then Cesaro, Claudio just shoulder checks him. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know what to think here because, like, on the one hand, it seems like you're burying Commander, which I'm fine with, but or at least the idea of Commander because he's under a mask, he can do something else.
Uh-huh.
But on the other hand, this is really stupid to do on television. Like this is
Is.
just dumb because I was thinking like, oh, okay, who's gonna be Mox's next big opponent? Because that's who's gonna come
Mhm.
out and had a problem. Like honestly, it would never happen. But like if Cena did that, oh, AEW would have
Yeah.
had a million rating for weeks.
Yeah.
Which they were never gonna get John. But somebody, this is the other sad fact. Who in AEW is gonna do that? Maybe Dustin. I mean, he would do it, but it wouldn't be
He
like,
would do it. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't make. It
or
wouldn't
maybe
be a thing.
Joe, like maybe Samoa Joe. But
Yeah. 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 Joe would be good.
there's a handful of people that would, maybe even MJF, be like, listen, Mox, I think this whole Death Rider thing's real cute and all, but, you know,
Yeah, but even him is like his stock went down. Like I saw his match with Adam Cole. It was okay, but
I
even it's
liked
not
it.
like it
Yeah,
used to be.
I know exactly what you mean. I liked it, but
Uh-huh.
again, it was okay. The
Yeah.
match was good. I think the build
Mhm.
up was okay because the build
Yeah.
up was stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. It
And now
was
they're
like,
doing
oh,
this
okay,
whole
he's
like,
super skinny.
yeah, now they're doing this whole like, is Adam Cole the bad guy? But now he's not the bad guy. But it's just like, what? This is dumb. This is so
It
stupid.
is. I'm not a fan of like Hill versus Hill. It could be done good. It just sometimes
I
it's
mean, heel versus babyface works. It's, I
yeah,
mean, case in point, look at every big wrestling match ever. It was heel versus babyface. Like the iconic ones. Now, granted, they did a switch in the middle of this one, but Rock versus Hogan, you know,
yeah,
Cena versus anyone.
yeah. I was gonna say yeah.
You know, Rob Van Dam versus Cena because Cena was a heel for one night and one night only.
He was. Saw that
I'm
live.
really. Have you seen the interview where John's talking about the plan for his heel turn?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I gotta tell you, if somebody ever invents the ability to travel between the multiverse, I'm gonna find the universe where John Cena turned heel, and I'm
To me, it
watching
would
it.
have been
Oh,
good.
it was so good because as much as people like to crap on Cena, Cena understands the wrestling business because he's talking about the things he was gonna do for that heel turn. I'm like, he understands. He understands this business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he would never be like my top five, even top 10 wrestlers, but I do like for where he done, and I know he knows the business versus some other people.
I also because I'm very much the same way in terms of my favorites. Cena's probably not even on my top 10, but
Hmm.
he carried the industry on his back for 15 years.
He did, yeah, yeah,
There's There's no debate.
Hmm.
I
You
mean, the
could never
ruthless
knock
aggression.
what he done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the ruthless aggression era was John Cena. That's
absolutely.
why it was
That's
called
where it
ruthless
started.
aggression.
It started with him. That's how I
Yeah,
liked it. You know.
yeah. I mean, he was the guy for
Yeah,
way longer than Stone Cold. People forget that.
yeah.
I mean, way long. Stone Cold was like on top for what, 3 years?
I would give it maybe five,
Three,
maybe
three,
about
four,
five,
4 to 5
5 more
years. Yeah,
years.
and
Yeah.
Cena solid 15 years
Uh-huh.
of being the guy, and even now still commands the crowd, still commands an audience.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
just
No.
not doing it full time anymore.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's no denying that. But
Hmm.
we'll wrap it up here. This one's been a long one, but a fun one. Everybody who's watching this, if you made it this far, tell us your wrestling predictions in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen in 2025. And be sure to check out our
Yeah.
wonderful sponsors. Don't forget that promo code. Get your girl something. Now, Valentine's Day's next month, so
Yeah. It'll be here in a flash.
it
So get
will.
it
Yeah.
now.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's 2020. It's 2025.
I know, I know.
I
Last
remember
week it was
2005.
2024. Same, well, I don't, but I remember 2008.
Oh no, I very much remember 2005. Ah, God, I'm old.
Same here, buddy.
Damn, I'm. I remember when John Cena had a crew cut.
I remember when wrestling was, I don't know, more special, I would say. It lost its magic over the years for me. To me, it's not as exciting. Like, I'm never like, oh, I gotta watch this match. Like I could watch it anytime. I'm, oh, okay, it's great, but to me, it lost a lot of its magic compared to what it used to be. I don't know.
You know what I honestly think that is though. I think that has more to do with us and the fact
Oh,
that,
absolutely. It's social media. Like everything's out of the bag. There's no secrets. Everything's just there. Like
well,
there's no excitement.
not only that, it's the fact that, like again, back during the ruthless aggression era, like the DVR was around, but it wasn't a household item.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it's like you had to be at home Monday night at 8 o'clock, or you were going to miss Raw, and you might miss something huge. That and you would have to pray that they showed a highlight because
Exactly.
it wasn't around yet. I mean, social
A
media just was
VCR.
not
No, yeah, what, VHR or VCR it's called.
for what to
The
do the tape.
Yeah, I used to have to do that. That's the only way I ever watch it. Sometimes like I had to set a timer and then
Oh
put
yeah,
a tape in like that
yeah,
way.
the old VCR.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
That's
definitely get what you mean when you say like the magic's somewhat gone, and then like oh my gosh,
yeah.
if you didn't get Spike TV and you wanted to watch TNA, you were like oh I want to watch TNA so bad, and then you watch TNA and you were like oh kind of mad that I paid extra for Spike now. Depending on the year, if you watched in 2006, it was probably pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
2009,
That's
eh.
when I first saw it, I think, around 2009. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Not my thing. It's
Okay, we're
okay.
doing this now. Um, Speaking of TNA though, and being bad, stay tuned for next week when I'll upload episode 2 of Weekly
Oh
Wrestling
yeah,
Wrap
yeah.
Up.
That was pretty cool.
Which I gotta say, I remember the first episode being a lot more boring, and
Uh-huh.
it wasn't as boring as I remembered it. Like, but here's the good news, guys. If that was tolerable to you, starting with episode 3 and onward, it gets a lot funnier.
It was good. It was like it reminded me when what I was doing during that time when Vince was in the limo and blew up. I was like, oh, is it real? Is it not?
Yeah, I don't remember us making fun of it as much as we did. We were just like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a thing that they did. Guys, comedy was in a very different place. I want to preface this just so because I'm sure we did some offensive stuff, but you have to understand, comedy was in a very different place then.
It was better then.
It was
Got
it was
too
better.
soft.
It was way better. Yeah. But I'm sure there's jokes. Actually, I know for a fact. Oh, I forgot about that joke. Oh well, it's coming. There's jokes we made that would not fly in today's climate. But they're there, so
Ah.
enjoy. I don't care. You can't cancel me. I'm not famous yet. It's nothing that bad. It's just stuff that kind of like
Yeah, I know, I get it. It's with the times.
if you're our age, you'll like it. If you're a little bit younger, you either won't get it or you'll be offended.
Like, how dare they?
Um, I don't know if I should tease it or not. I will. So first of all, our friend John is Korean. So just preface with that. There may or may not be a kamikaze joke,
Oh, okay.
which
Oh,
I still maintain is funny,
that's
especially
pretty funny.
considering especially considering it was an ad lib, like it was made.
Uh-huh.
That's the other thing. No episode of that show was ever scripted. Even the parody we do of The Office was pretty much all ad libbed.
Uh-huh.
We had a basic idea of the story, but it was pretty much ad libbed.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's in season two though, so you got some time. But anyway, unless you've got any other predictions, we'll roll it out.
Um, not so much, not just yet. I would like to see like how this next for Monday Night Raw is going to be. I would like to see how it is on Netflix, and then after that, maybe I'll have a prediction.
As long as Netflix doesn't crash, I think it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot
Oh,
about
that
that.
would be bad.
Yeah, like the Tyson fight.
That would be so bad. Oh, could you imagine? That'll be horrible. I mean, they'll spin it. Be like WWE Monday Night Raw had so many viewers on debut episode on
Oh yeah,
Netflix that it
absolutely. It
crashed
was
the
like
service.
servers. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, they might do that on purpose.
It will bump ratings up a little
We can
bit.
bring back Solomon Crane. God, I cannot stand him.
Same here.
That's one of the few people in wrestling that I genuinely hate. Like, I don't
Uh-huh.
understand how he has a career. I don't understand why he's popular. I don't get it. He is not. I think he's dangerous. I think he's
Yeah,
unprofessional,
absolutely.
and I think he should not have a job in wrestling.
There's a few wrestlers in over the years that I was like, they're not actually wrestlers. New Jack, a few
I think
others.
New Jack would admit that, though. I think that's the difference.
Oh yeah. Like him as a person. After I got to know him a little bit later on,
Yeah,
and he was pretty okay, but okay. I mean,
I don't know.
but some of the stories he would say, like and tell, it's like wow.
Yeah, I did enjoy though when he was like somebody was asking him like Rob Van Dam. He was like, I never had a problem with Rob, and it was like, no, but who had a problem with Rob Van Dam?
I
I'm
know.
sure somebody out there has, but you're wrong.
I
But
never heard of it. Yeah.
yeah, well, apparently, actually, Punk and him I don't think they ever had a problem, but I saw an interview where Rob talking about, and granted, this was, well, no, actually, I take that back. He was telling a story from back when, they were together in the WWE's ECW, but this was
Hmm.
shortly after Brawl Out when this interview took place. And Rob's talking about how, like, he had come back from a suspension and apparently punked him. And he's like, just so you know, I'm calling a team meeting.
Oh yeah,
And he's just like, what?
yeah. Yeah.
He was like, "Well, somebody's been stealing gear from the locker room, and I know it's not you,
Yeah.
but just letting you know." And I'm just like, I could see how a veteran would hear that and be like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?"
I heard something similar with Kevin Owens. He was like Punk told him to wear like a singlet or something like that, and he was like, I don't feel comfortable wearing a singlet.
So that, yeah, that's I think that one was a legitimate misunderstanding because I think
Yeah.
it's my understanding that they did have a problem, but I think it was a big misunderstanding on both parts because I think
Okay.
I think Punk took that as because the way Kevin tells the story is he thought Punk was joking about something, not that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and maybe he was, but I think Kevin's because Kevin reacted like it was a joke, and I think Punk took that as like I don't care what you say,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think that caused because Kevin's still kind of like I saw that shoot interview, and Kevin's still kind of like I'm still kind of confused about the whole thing.
yeah, yeah,
He's like I'm not really sure if we have a problem with each other or not,
yeah.
but I mean I don't. Those are always the worst ones when somebody like has a problem with you and you're like I have no why what did I do.
It's like what I do.
It's like, did I make? I don't recall making fun of your mother, but if I did, you know,
True.
I stand by what I said. Damn it! What? What's that? We'll end on a Star Trek. What's that? Your mom's so fat that Spock said she outweighs the needs of the many. Oh god, that's my favorite Your Mama joke, just because it's so obscure.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, like I said, leave your wrestling predictions for 2025 in the comments, and check out our friends at Molly Jewelry and buy your girl something nice for Valentine's Day. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
No.
a whole year's worth of peace and quiet with our friends at Molly Jewelry.
Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but yeah. I was gonna say you could save money and buy some Molly. It's another way
That
you can
too,
get
but we
around.
don't have a promo code for that. But TM Hakeem, he knows a guy.
that.
All right, everyone. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks for the Down the Middle podcast, and check out the episode 2 of Weekly Wrestling Wrap Up that's coming next week. And until then, enjoy Monday Night Raw because we're all going to watch it
Sure, we are.
just to
Sure.
see.